Hey everyone, John from 5X Racing here. Today we're going to show you a video of our 2002 Spec Miata build, which has been in progress for quite a while now. So we're going to go through and explain this car to you and what we're doing, what we're using, and what we plan to do with it. Hope you enjoy it. Coming in from the front here, we got it covered up so we don't scratch the paint. Inside the engine bay, you're going to see our wires that we're working on. Going to try to pare them down. Clutch master, clutch slave. Got our extended clutch line testing out there. See how that works. Everything's painted the pure white. Trying to get the stuff situated in here. So make sure it's all connected right and all our wiring's going to the right places. We go down to the subframe. Steering rack's out, being gone over. We cleaned up the whole subframe, steering gear. Everything's painted, real fresh, very clean. Then we're going to take a look down here. Here's some prototype offset A-arm bushings that we're going to use. We made. They're 95A urethane, super hard, pretty close to solid. You can see them again on this side. We should be selling those at some point here in the near future when we thrash test them on a race car good enough, which we have been. In the front, radiator support, nothing special there. Panning out, you're going to see the underside of the hood, which we painted just the same as the outside of the car. Now we're moving to the front spindle here, just the common OEM spindle. On the bottom you got our extended ball joints from Bauer. Here's a coilover. This is the Spec Miata spec coilover. The Fat Cat bump stops that we manufacture now. Our coilover sleeves. Standard off-the-shelf Bilstein shock. HD Sport from a 90 through 97 Miata. That's what everybody's got to use. And we took a good detail here, painting the underside of the fender liners. Let's peek underneath where the sway bar will go. Taking a look over here now at the roll cage and over to the trunk. Here's the inside of the door, which we gutted and used a little trim piece there so we don't cut our legs open going in and out. Coming up over the top of the roll cage now, and then we designed this roll cage in-house, built it in-house, everything except the final welding, which we had it TIG welded by a guy in Orlando that does drag cars. Did a super good job on it. And we're looking at a light gray paint that we used. It's a outdoor sign paint. It's really tough and works real well with chemicals and wear. So obviously it's good for the interior of the car. We can clean it and get it dirty. And here you got a whole mess of wiring. All this is with the 2002 and its factory or dealer installed OEM security system, which is a real pain. We're going to try to weed that out, which I've been advised not to, but I mean, look at all the wires. It just looks like a mess. And if it's not necessary, and it's just, maybe cause trouble in the future, we don't want that. Coming over to the other passenger door here, there's our door bars. We squeezed them out pretty good ways. Everything's super close proximity with the chassis to maximize the space inside. So I'm 6'1", 215, probably 220 with all my gear on. So there's not much room for me in a Miata. So we had one goal in this roll cage. It was to push everything to its extreme limits so I can have more space with it, more space to work in. Taking a look here. It's just the detail work that we did to try to get this roll cage squeezed in there. And minimalistic cage too. We don't have bars that we don't need. You might think that you don't need some of these bars that we have. A lot of it's for support. Here we're looking at our hardtop brackets that we sell. We make these now too. Pretty simple, just a piece of metal. It attaches from the windshield frame to your hardtop. Here's the side brackets. Do the same thing. Go from the side of the chassis to the hardtop. Looking back across, there's the other bracket. Here's the top of the roll cage. Going around the back here. Just going for a clean look with the white paint. Nothing fancy right now. We might wrap it or do something crazy. We're not sure yet. Yeah, looking underside the trunk, and just same as the front, and just painted, same as the outside. Just try to keep it clean. Here's where the down tubes come through and attach to the trunk area. Tried to get them close to the shock there. Just a good place to put them for support. Gas tanks obviously in there temporarily. Got a plate welded to the chassis there. Secures that down tube in place. There's the top part of the rear shock. That's where the battery's going to go. Painted everything. Took really fine attention to detail on everything we did. It's still not done yet. That's what's taking so long, is we got to make everything perfect on this car. This is our show car basically as a race team. Here you're looking at a rear spindle, and these are in there temporarily. We're going to redo the bearings. There's a rear shock. Looking up underneath, you got the Fat Cat system here. There's the isolator, and then you have your red washer, the Bilstein spacer underneath there. This is how these are set up, if you were wondering. You got your bump stop, the Eibach rear springs, 375 inch-pound, Bilstein shocks off the shelf. Pretty simple stuff, but what a great setup. Works really good, super reliable, tough. You got the rear subframe, which we stripped and painted. Everything might be a little dusty. It's not straight off the paint booth, I guess you can say. And rear fender liners, everything's painted. Obviously, we don't expect it to stay this good looking, but while we were at it, we wanted to go above and beyond. Here's one of our rear tow hooks for racing. They work good on the street too if you want to get stuck in a ditch, but hopefully you don't. Pretty simple install. You just got to drill a hole on the side there for it, which can be a pain for some, but you know, that's pretty basic. Attaches to the existing rear tow hook. Looking underneath the back here, this is underneath the trunk, and this is what the underside of your Miata looks like if you haven't gotten down there yet. Looking at the rear shock mounting bolt there. No rear sway bar yet. And we took a painstaking measure of trying to get everything clean and painted underneath here, which was a bit of a pain, and you'll never see it. But for us, we thought, why not? And here we're going to take a closer look at that seat pan. This will drop the floor pan where your driver's seat sits about 1.5 inches and push the side out so you can fit a wider seat in it. We didn't want to go too wide because we didn't want to interfere with the exhaust system. And this is a weld-in thing. Basically cut out the floor pan and drop this in, weld it in. Here's another look at the floor pan, how it attaches. We also put a support brace to join the two thicker parts of the subframe, as you have to cut into the subframe, kind of fillet it out a bit. So we wanted to support the underneath of that weaker subframe that we had to cut. So we have basically an overlay piece gets welded in there too. And that's wrapping it up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.